Section 14 of The American Postal Service, 2nd edition. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Fred Abood. The American Postal Service, 2nd edition, by Louis Melius. Chapter 5. Miscellaneous Matters. Part 1. General and Financial Summary. Revenue. Entire receipts, 1916, $312,057,688.83. Ordinary postal revenues, $303,232,143.36. From money order business, $8,130,545.47. Postal savings, $695,000. Expenditures. On account of current year, 1916, $297,637,128.87. On account of previous years, $8,566,904.27. Total expenditure, $306,204,033.14. Excess of revenue over expenditure, 1916, $5,853,655.69. Rural free delivery, 1916. Cost per patron, 1915, $2,060. Cost per patron, 1916, $1,966. Annual cost, 1916, $51,715,616. City delivery, 1916, 34,000 carriers. City delivery cost of, 1916, $43 million. Cost per capita estimated, $1.75. Star route, 1916. Annual cost, $7,726,975. Postal savings. Number of depositors, 1916. 602,937. Balance to credit of depositors, 1916. $86,019,885. Money orders. Orders issued, 1916. $121,636,818. Amount, $719,364,950.46. Stamp books. Number issued, 1916. 28,005,930. Postal cards. Number issued, 1916. 1,047,894,800. Value, $10,784,307. Dead letters. Letters and parcels received, 1916. 10,839,890. Money value found in undelivered letters, $2,303,119.56. Net revenue from sale of undeliverable articles, $53,665.69. Mail bags, 1916. Number pouches available, 600,000. Number sacks available, 4 million. Cost of pouches, 70 cents. Cost of catcher pouches, 80 cents. Mail locks, 1916. Number general mail locks in use, 1 million. Cost each 8.5 cents. To repair, 3 cents. Division of supplies. Appropriation, blanks, stationery, etc. 1916. $2,500,000. Special delivery. Amount expended for service, 1916. $633,713.21. Number of pieces delivered yearly, 32 million. Railway mail service, 1916. Number of clerks, 19,000. Number of mail routes, 3,500. Salaries paid, $26 million. Correct handling of mail, 99.984%. Cost of transportation, $57,900,000. Star routes. Number, 1916. 11,187. Length of miles, 147,167. Average cost per mile length, $54.16. Average cost per mile of travel, 0.1026 cents. Annual cost, $7,726,975. Routes on which there is found rate service, 195. Number pounds carried, 1917. 23,411,604. Cost, $280,738.08. Cost per 100 pounds, $1.20. Number of star routes discontinued on account of rural delivery service from January 1904 to June 1917. 7,450. Cost, $2,577,728. Length in miles, 72,340. Number of routes, 1900, 22,834. 1917, 11,208. Cost mile of length, 1900, $19.02. 1917, $54.56. Cost mile of travel, 1900, 3.83 cents. 1917, 10.24 cents. Cost per route, 1900, $224.81. 1917, $723. Registration and insurance. Total registration, paid and free, 39,236,569. Amount collected, fees, $3,427,053.10. Insured parcel post, total pieces, 24,936,082. Total fees, $1,067,192.29. COD pieces, 6,300,546. Fees, $630,054.60. Items of general interest. Statistics show that although 70% of parcel post matter comes from the 50 largest cities of the country, these cities only receive 17% of parcels for delivery. The smaller post offices, which receive 65% of the parcels, dispatch only 9.5%. The annual readjustment of salaries of presidential postmasters will, according to the provisions in the Postal Appropriation Bill for 1917, be based on the gross receipts for the 4 quarters ending December 31st instead of March 31st, as heretofore. Eligibles for fourth-class postmaster places are selected in the order of their civil service rating, unless good and sufficient reasons to the contrary are submitted to the Department. Of 32,000 of such eligibles, 89.5 of those whose names appeared first on the list were appointed. In 8% the second highest were selected, and in 2.5% the third. The number of postmasters in the United States are, according to classes, 567 in the first, 2,211 in the second, 6,414 in the third, and 46,742 in the fourth class. Total, 55,934. Custer County, Montana has one of the longest mail routes in the United States. This line runs from Miles City to Stacy, Olive, Brodatus, Boyer, Graham, and Biddle. It is said to be 126 miles long, and some contend that it is longer. The longest star route in the United States is from Helper to Vernal, Utah, 116 miles, and the price the government pays is $38,678.70 per annum. The longest route in Alaska is overland, Barrow to Kotzebue, 650 miles. The shortest route is in Pennsylvania, from Kaiser to Natalie, 65/100th. There is one route in New York, Delhi to Bloomville, 8 miles and back, 12 times a week, for which the contractor receives but 1 cent per annum, no doubt considering the advantage of carrying the mail as a sufficient compensation for taking the job at such a rate. There are 3,010 counties in the United States. 984 have rural service, and steps are being taken to see what can be done with the remainder, though any considerable progress in such direction must be slow, as a great deal of preliminary work must be done before any real action can be taken. That fractions count in a great business organization, such as the Post Office Department, will be seen when it is stated that postmasters during the year 1916 accounted for a total of $131,625.90, arising from gains in fractions of a cent where stamped envelopes and wrappers were sold in odd quantities. The annual per capita of expenditure for postage in the United States has increased since 1912 from $2.58 to $3.04, and the gross postal revenue from $246,744,015 to $312,057,688. In the fiscal year of 1857, the first full year in which prepayment of postage by means of stamps was compulsory under the Act of March 3, 1855, the per capita use of stamps was but 19 cents. The increase of population in this period has been 257%. Of postage stamp consumption, 4,968%. The sales of postage stamps and other stamped paper for the fiscal year 1916 aggregated $277,728,025.20, an increase of $21,521,481.49. The greatest sales and the largest increase ever recorded, exceeding the entire sales of the fiscal year 1873, which amounted to $20,324,817.50. The Post Office Department was removed to Washington, D.C., first Monday in December, 1800, the seat of government being changed to the District of Columbia at that time. Over 100 years ago, the question of patronage was already a disturbing feature in the management of public affairs. Gideon Granger of Connecticut, Postmaster General in 1814, who had been an active and efficient official in the administration of President Madison, lost his place on account of some disagreement with the President regarding the appointment of postmasters. It is not clear whether he resigned or was displaced, but the differences of opinion with President Madison led to his retirement from the service. Joseph Habersham of Georgia, Postmaster General in the administration of General Washington, 1795, was the first one of the long line of Postmasters General to sit in the capital of the nation, he coming to Washington when the seat of government was established there in the year 1800. Post route and rural delivery maps made by the government are on a scale of 1 inch to the mile. These maps show all public roads, rural routes, schoolhouses, churches, streams, etc. And negative prints can be purchased at 35 cents each by application to the 3rd Assistant Postmaster General. The number of claims filed with the solicitor for the Post Office Department in 1916 for the value of postage stamps lost by burglary of post offices was 690, amounting to $144,440.54, as compared with 720 claims amounting to $197,011.88 filed in 1915. It will be seen that while the number of claims is approximately the same, the amount is $52,571.34 less. It was the custom in 1857 and prior thereto to publish the names of the postmasters in connection with the post offices, as is indicated by an old postal guide published by D.D.T. Leach at that time. This was then easily enough done, for the offices then numbered but 13,600, and changes were not as frequent as at present. The first Assistant Postmaster General had in his bureau 18 clerks, the second assistant 26, the third assistant 25, and the chief clerk of the department, who had charge of the inspection service, had 18. There were then but 11 distributing offices in all of New England, including Pennsylvania, 8 in Virginia and the Carolinas, 3 in Georgia, 4 in Ohio, 2 in Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Iowa, and 1 each in Maryland, Michigan, Indiana, Texas, and California. Aaron V. Brown of Tennessee was the Postmaster General. The abbreviation for Massachusetts was then MS, as is seen by an old dating stamp of that period. In 1868, money orders were issued at the rate of 10 cents for all orders not exceeding $20. By Act approved June 8, 1872, the rate was reduced to 5 cents for all orders not exceeding $10. By this change, the government lost, in the 2 succeeding years on account of this reduction, 2.84 per hundred on every order issued on the 5-cent basis, showing that such rate at that time was too low. There were 2,405 rural carriers separated from the service during the year 1915, of which number 1,228 resigned, 232 died, and 618 were removed. In 1916, there were 2,602 changes, 1,844 carriers resigned, 208 died, and 550 were removed. Almost the entire expense indecent to the operation of the rural mail service is in the compensation paid to carriers. On account of their unusual duties, which include the sale of stamps and stamped paper, registration of mail, transaction of money order business, etc., duties not required of city delivery carriers, it is stated that carriers maintaining a motor vehicle of the capacity required by the department, who work 8 hours a day and carry perhaps as much as 50,000 pieces of mail a month, should not receive less than $2,000 per annum. The total number of miles of railroad in the United States in 1830 was 23, and 634 miles in 1834, on which mail covering 78 miles was carried. In 1844, the mileage had increased to 4,377, and mail carried on 3,714 miles. In 1854, the mileage was 16,720. In 1864, 35,085. In 1874, 70,278. And in 1882, 104,813, with corresponding increase of mail carriage. There are now 3,479 railroad mail routes, with a length in miles of 234,175.13 and an annual travel of 502,937,359.43 miles. The decision of President Wilson to place all postmasters of the country under the civil service law will take away 16,587,300 of public patronage from the customary method of disposal. At the first of the year, there were 567 first-class offices in the country paying salaries ranging from $3,000 to $8,000, or a total of $2,014,300. Included in this list were the post offices in New York, Chicago, St. Louis, Boston, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Detroit, Cleveland, Toledo, Columbus, Atlanta, and other large cities. There were 2,213 second-class offices, salaries ranging from $2,000 to $2,900, or a total of $5,235,500. Third class, 7,437, paying from $1,000 to $1,900 yearly, or a total of $9,337,500. Fourth class postmasters are already under the civil service law. From 1816 to 1845, a letter carried not over 30 miles paid 6 1/4 cents. Over 80 and under 150 miles paid 12 1/2 cents. And if the letter weighed an ounce, 4 times these rates were charged. In 1851, the 3-cent rate was reached for distances less than 3,000 miles. And in 1853, distance limit was abolished and the rate made uniform. This system led to a deficiency in 1860 amounting to over $10 million. The restriction of the service during the Civil War, it being then confined to the densely populated states of the North, allowed a surplus to appear amounting in 1863 to $2,800,000. After the war, deficiencies became the rule for many years, diminishing, however, from year to year as the country became more thickly settled. By official order, it is stated that the department commends and will give record credit marks to rural carriers whose efforts result in greater quantities of farm products being transported through the mails. Notwithstanding the growth of the service, together with the added work of the postal savings system and the parcel post, the department's service in Washington has been reduced by 200, with a resultant saving of over $166,000 per annum because of the adoption of methods of operation which develop efficiency and permit the changes so necessary to progressive improvement. End of section 14.